For a quarter of a century, Thailand's politics have been dominated by one family. Billionaire Thaksin Shinawatra has built a political dynasty that has overcome military coups, criminal charges, and much legal wrangling. But earlier this week, Thailand's constitutional court suspended Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra, Thaksin's daughter, from office, pushing Thailand and the powerful family further into political turmoil. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the events that led to the Prime Minister's suspension, explain what happens next, and why this could be the beginning of the end for the Shinawatra dynasty, and a major reconfiguration of Thailand's political landscape. Could you rank every single politician in the world? Hear our thoughts and argue with us on our podcast, The World Leader Leaderboard. Find it on the TLDR Podcast YouTube channel or in your favourite podcast app. The thing that really kicked off this latest crisis was the leak in mid-June of a recording of a phone call between Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra and Hun Sen, the de facto leader of Cambodia. The call aimed to ease tensions between the two countries amid an escalating border dispute that saw one Cambodian soldier killed during a skirmish in May. In the phone call, Paetongtarn was notably deferential towards Hun and appeared to disparage the Thai military's handling of the border crisis. This sparked considerable public anger, particularly but not exclusively among conservatives who saw it as evidence that Paetongtarn was weak on national security. Her largest coalition partner, the conservative Boomjay Thai Party, pulled out of her coalition, and despite her apology and attempt to explain the call as a negotiation tactic, protests calling for her resignation persisted. A group of senators submitted a petition to the Constitutional Court seeking Paetongtarn's dismissal, and on July 1st, the court voted 7-2 to suspend her from her duties while it considered the case over the coming weeks. Polling carried out in the aftermath of the phone call scandal showed a huge drop in support for Paetongtarn. Just 9.2% of respondents named her as their choice for PM, compared to the 30.9% support she received in March. Paetongtarn's government had also been struggling in other areas, having difficulty enacting its agenda, an ailing economy, and the perception that the 38-year-old political novice only got the job because of her family name, and that she was basically just a proxy for her father. So, what actually happens now that Paetongtarn has been suspended? Well, while the case is being deliberated, Deputy Prime Minister Saria will serve as acting PM. And when the Constitutional Court eventually delivers its final verdict, it could rule that she didn't breach ethical standards, and therefore she could return to office. Although even this wouldn't necessarily settle the crisis, given that the protests and pressure would continue. Alternatively, and perhaps more likely, the court could uphold the complaint and fully remove Paetongtarn. This would spark a difficult search for a new prime minister, who must come from the limited pre-existing pool of parties' prime ministerial candidates. If agreement on a new PM is not forthcoming, parliamentary deadlock and political paralysis could ensue, which analysts have noted raises the risk of extra-parliamentary intervention, i.e. a military coup, particularly if there's public unrest. Or it could, less dramatically, result in a caretaker government limping along until new elections are held. Whatever actually happens, the Shinawatra dynasty has proven remarkably good at returning to power, though less good at holding on to it. Thaksin, first elected in 2001, was ousted by the 2006 coup. His party was then dissolved and he went into self-imposed exile. Its successor party then won the 2007 election, but it was dissolved in 2008 by the Constitutional Court, which also ousted Thaksin's brother-in-law as Prime Minister. Thaksin's sister, Yingluck, then led the movement's next and current incarnation, Pheu Thai, to victory in the 2011 election, but was ousted by the 2014 military coup. And then, a decade later, Thaksin's daughter Paetongtarn became Prime Minister, with Pheu Thai having come second at the 2023 election. But while history might suggest that even if Paetongtarn is ousted, the Shinawatras will inevitably return within a few years, there are reasons to believe that this instead could be the beginning of the end for the Shinawatra dynasty, and that Thailand may be facing a fundamental reconfiguration of its political order. To understand this, we need to do a little history lesson. As we've said, for the past 25 years, the overarching dynamic in Thai politics has been a battle between the conservative, royalist, pro-military establishment and Thaksin Shinawat's populist political movement. Thaksin's charisma, political savviness, and policies, including universal healthcare and poverty alleviation schemes, all helped drive his considerable popularity. However, he was and is a deeply polarizing figure, and his critics accuse him of being corrupt and self-serving, and he's naturally viewed by the establishment as a threat. But the bitter rivalry appeared to be put aside when, after the 2023 election, Thai forged an unlikely deal with the conservative and military-aligned parties to form a coalition government led by Thai. This so-called Grand Compromise was mutually beneficial. For the conservative establishment, it kept the progressive Move Forward party out of government. Move Forward had won the election, having campaigned on curbing the military's influence and loosening strict laws against criticizing the monarchy. While for Thai, the Grand Compromise sidelined a party, Move Forward, that had been challenging its dominance. But more crucially, and in what looked like a pretty murky backroom deal, it allowed Thai's patriarch Thaksin to return from exile. His 8-year sentence for corruption was subsequently reduced to 1 year by the king, though he ended up serving only 6 months in hospital detention before being paroled, and then later pardoned by the king. Clearly though, this marriage of convenience is unravelling, and while Paetongtarn, now suspended, awaits her political fate, Thaksin is now on trial accused of insulting the monarchy in comments he made during an interview back in 2015. So, is this the end of the Shinawatra dynasty? Well, Thaksin has basically run out of family members to front his movement, and regardless, after Paetongtarn's experience, putting up another politically inexperienced Shinawatra probably won't go down too well. Thaksin himself is 75 years old, and no longer the youthful figure he was in his prime, and his various legal issues could result in jail time or a return to self-exile. The deal that Thai struck with conservative, military-aligned parties has also significantly damaged its credibility, and was seen by many supporters as a betrayal. We mentioned Paetongtarn's dire approval earlier, but that same poll also showed Thai collapsing into a dismal third place, with 11.5% support, down from 28% in March. The clear beneficiary here is the People's Party, the successor of the now dissolved Move Forward party, which rose to more than 46% support in last month's poll. It's worth pointing out though that the conservative Bumjay Thai party and military-aligned United Thai Nation both had a relatively strong showing in that poll too, suggesting that the conservative bloc is also doing well out of the political turmoil. So ultimately, even if Thailand does enter a post-Shinawatra dominance era, a familiar dynamic will still persist. One that pits a determined and popular political force, this time in the form of the People's Party demanding wholesale progressive system change, up against a conservative, pro-military, royalist establishment that's proven willing to use an array of methods to maintain its position. All of this plays into a broader feeling of chaos in the world at the moment. Whether it's wars, economics, or geopolitics, it feels like things are increasingly uncertain. And who's at the middle of all of that? Well, the United States. At one time, the US seemed to be a steady, stabilizing force in global politics, but it seems that those days are over, with American influence, popularity, and dominance on the decline. So in the next issue of our magazine, Too Long, we're discussing this shift and the potential that we're currently observing the end of the American order. In that section of the magazine, we unpack everything from the collapse of democratic norms in the US to the decline of American soft power, and if the US can maintain its dominance in energy and technology. We also discuss the people who could pick up the reins from the US, like if China, Europe, or even a new multipolar order could replace America. This magazine is our longest ever, coming in at 76 pages, and it's full of our very best journalism and well thought through analysis. That goes beyond just the US too, with more than half of the magazine dedicated to other topics, from Germany's new focus on military might, the offshoring of migrants around the world, how Nigel Farage could become Britain's next Prime Minister, or our section where we ask a handful of experts what's really driving anti-establishment sentiment around the world. You can pre-order a copy copy of Too Long from our website right now, or you can subscribe to make sure that you never miss an issue going forward. And if you do, you'll also get 20% off every copy as long as you're subscribed. Plus, just this week, if you use code AmericanOrder, you'll get an additional 20% off any subscription, bringing down the price to as little as £6.40. So pre-order a copy now to get yourself all of that extra content and support the journalism that we do here at TLDR every single day.